But like 5 years ago, I was like, man, like I need to focus on YouTube and LinkedIn. And now that we're doing a lot of that stuff, we were able to sell some companies. We built some big newsletters, and we understand the models. Like algorithms are mathematical like equations, and so are models. They're systematic like behaviors. And if you start looking at things like that, instead of like you being so smart or you being so talented, you can kind of break things down into like, every data piece makes decisions, and every time your ego gets involved in it, you make an error.
What up, the Entrepreneur DNA family? This one is a good one. I know that I say it all the time, but this one is one of my closest friends. This man has been on the internet and social medias for the last 20 years, building and buying businesses, building more business, buying more businesses, focusing now on privateequitygroup.com. My good friend Los Silva is here. What's up, dog?
What's up, bro?
Dude,
I'm a little sweaty because it's Miami, so it's hard to park, and so you got to walk.
It is Miami, yeah.
Out. But I love Miami.
It's a great place to be. You drove because Orlando is that close, just for me.
Yeah, just for you. Yeah.
Well, so as one of my closest friends, this should be fun. So we're going to talk a lot about what you've done in the last 20 years, and you've had an online presence for 20 years, and you've built coaching programs, and you've had agencies, and you bought businesses. Let's start with, what is your agenda now moving into 2025?
I'm focused on buying media companies. That means newsletters, podcast assets, or building assets. And that's a media group that we're building out. Then privateequitygroup.com, which I plan on making the largest accredited investor newsletter in America. And then 528, which is the company where we buy and sell and do roll-ups in the home service space right now.
Who would be interested in privateequitygroup.com? Let's talk about that, because I know it's your baby right now and you're crushing it and you're already making major waves. So who's interested in that?
If you want to sell your company for 9 figures or high 8s, not 7, we can help you on those services. If you want to understand and get consulting on how to do roll-ups or how to do alternative structures that are not 220 funds and things like that, like search funds and independent sponsor opportunities, we can help you there. And if you're an actual accredited investor that wants to invest in companies or understand how to do that, that's really who we focus on. If you're an internet marketer and you got a Ferrari and you just want to kind of like say you do stuff and you have a couple Bitcoin, like don't bother even like logging in.
So what is going on there? I know you and I have talked a lot about kind of the internet marketer space and the flexing and the dripping, the Lambos, and then and
it's just a different season, bro. I mean, you and I have both probably been here like 15 to 20 years.
Yeah.
Right. And it's funny because like I talk to people and they're like, man, like it's crazy, like courses and coaching, it's kind of like the wave. I'm like, young one.
Young Thundercat. The internet was the wave?
Nah, it's been like this for 20 years. And I'm sure before we got in it was like this.
Yeah.
It's just, things are cyclical and things like that. Like right now we're in ascension funnels, not high ticket funnels. We're in a trust economy, not an attention economy. So we made a lot of money in attention economy when we got attention and we had that high ticket offer. And now it kind of has to build trust. So it's these communities, it's this, and dude, in like 2016, I was like teaching C4, which is content, community, conversations, conversions, right? And that's the era that really works now. If you have a high ticket funnel, you're not making as much money as the guy that has a YouTube structured to a school and then structured down to like ascension and like offers and funnels, and then taking more time on email, getting you to an event or getting you somewhere else, and then, maximizing that lifetime value. It's different, but that is the same as 2016.
Talk it. I mean, you and I talk a lot. I mean, a lot. Like you were probably one of the people
every morning
most besides my wife. I probably talk to you more than my wife.
I probably talk to you more than
I'm just being serious. So I say that just to say, like, we talk about that. Like, in 2024, I had a boulder pushing up a mountain with my high ticket. Like, brother, you got all the components of what I believe. And you were saying, I believe this is where we're going to be going. And I'm going to agree with you 100%, is the community, lower ticket, more communal value. That is the space right now.
Dude, 100%, man. Like, it sucks. And for seasoned people, you know that it sucks because you're going through everything you used to have to do to make like a quicker bag. Now it's more work, about the same or less money, right? And more employees, more team, more
effort for sure. I mean, I put in not that I ever didn't put in effort at the high ticket, but brother, we run 5 calls a week for 2-3 hours.
And some people are doing services on top of the calls, right? It's because and I got out of this industry now 26 months it's been since I really haven't, I'm not making courses, content, all that kind of stuff. I jumped into a different world. It sucked, like blatantly, like for the past 24 or 5 months. Now it's like great, you know, and it's because I always wondered, like, we're really good at this. Like I've made, 8 figures in every industry but affiliate marketing, like courses, like 2017, e-commerce 2018, in freaking like coaching 2017. Like we've done the game, right? Services 2018, right? Like we've done the models, right? And so that means we're good, and we're competing against like people that should say they're in Harvard, but they're just gangster media buyers, gangster stacked marketers, right? And then you go talk to like a guy that goes to Harvard. That guy just knows math.
Yeah.
They don't know the real plays. And so, private equity starts to buy a lot of things, and they start to move in different ways. You know this in real estate. They're picking up everything. What are they going to pick up next? They're picking up home services for vertical integration. And I started thinking, man, if we've done this with influencers and e-commerce, there's got to be a place where like no one else is like that, like savage, right? Because everyone here is selling you a dream with their Lambos and their this and their that. And it's even easier now with chat and things like that. And so you have this opportunity of like, you just say they don't even understand, these young people now, what FTC is, right? They'll say,
they will very quickly.
For sure. But, I was like, man, there's got to be a place where like, I'm smarter. I know I'm smart. I'm not an idiot. I'm going to try it. And I had a friend that had a pool company, and I was like, I'm going to shoot my shot. We've been trying to work together for years. I've known him since he was 14. And he's like, I got a pool company making a couple mil. I was like, all right, and give me half. And in 18 months, we took it to 12, right? And now we bought it. By this time, it'll be 100%. I don't know. You might have to switch that. But whatever. But, and then I was like, all right, let me try another one. And now we're, that turned into a home service company where we were acquiring businesses that now we're rolling up. We're also helping people because we can't roll up every single person. So and we've realized as well, like, hey, there's a lot of problems in due diligence and a lot of lies and a lot of issues. And like a lot of people don't even know what EBITDA is. Most people don't even have an accountant. And so now we do sell kind of like a system, which is hands-on. There's no courses, content stuff. Like we just want to get in there because we need to optimize for the revenue. We need to optimize for the numbers because that makes it easier for us. And it gives us a little bit of extra on the valuation as well. And then I said, man, we should do it in other spaces that are different. So we did it in newsletters, and I sold 2 newsletters to a publicly traded company. Now we're working in the newsletter game because we understand media. And with ChatGPT and stuff like that, all you're going to have realistically, all the people that are making money on courses and content and all that, 2-3 years from now, if you don't actually know how to talk to AI, you're cooked. And if you didn't build assets, then you have no moat. So you're a baller right now. You won't even work at McDonald's later on.
The thing that's interesting to me, though, and I want this to kind of, and I'm going to change the subject a little bit, the iterations of what you've been able to do. We've been friends for a long time. I mean, 2000, when did the first official boardroom?
12 years ago.
12 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember you showed up in Banana Republic, everything.
Yeah, that was my first ever event. Now I co-founded that with Big Baldy.
So the iterations that I've been able to see, and I think this is something I've been talking a lot into, is the ability to adapt, to iterate, to move as markets move. And you're a good shining example of that. I mean, literally from agencies to pool companies.
Well, dude, the big thing is, people, I never defined myself because I never was the best at anything. I was a really good copywriter. I was really good media buyer. But then, like, there was a Nick Kuzmich's and Jason Horncogs, and I was like, man, I ain't playing with that game. And I remember driving by my house one day and being like, I'm really good at stuff, but like, I'm not the best. Where should I be the best? And everyone kept like saying, like, man, like, you just have a really good understanding of how to like put it all together, and you can connect with people. And I kind of got offended at the connecting with people part because a lot of connectors online, they're just guys trying to make a buck by like literally being like, hey, I know him, give me $1.
Yeah.
Right. And so I looked at it differently, and I was like, what if I just understood how to understand it all and knew that I will always understand more so I can see the bigger picture. And I think, like, I had one of my mentor's friends, he's a billionaire, he lives in Orlando. He made me take an IQ test because because I was like, man, I'm having a hard time, but I'm not digressing kind of a little, but he made me take an IQ test to understand like why I have a hard time sometimes leading certain people. And he's like, well, you think in like the end, like the orders of consequences pass through my head. And I'm very analytical. And most people think in like first, first principles. And I realized then like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So I learned how to lead people, and like I have very good social dynamics. Plus, I understand how to like see the end in sight, and so I focused on that. And when you do that, that's when you can understand dynamics, and you can understand like everything is cyclical, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at any business, people look at internet marketing like it's internet marketing. Internet marketing is the same on a cyclical level. In 2017 or 18, I was interviewed with Onik, my boy, Singal, and I said, like, quote this, 2020 something, it's gonna be webinars and this, and then it's gonna go back to Ascensions because of times, right? Like you can look at like if you study and read like Buffett and like the guy from Walmart, and you can start seeing like things get cyclical. And like what happens with internet marketers is they get so, and I did this, I lost a lot of money thinking I was somebody, right? And thinking that like, yo, I got this, I can do anything, anytime, any place. You can't. That was like straight up, you cannot. But you learn by losing, you don't learn by winning, right?
Come on.
And I understood. I was like, hey, the problem is I'm not looking ahead. I think I can do anything at any time, but I don't even know what time I'm in, right? And so if you start looking at the timelines and what's going to happen, okay, once the saturation of high ticket happens, what's going to happen? Too much money is being spent. They can't afford it. Economy was looking bad. It was after COVID. Boom, money's got to come down.
Yeah.
So what can I do as a person that sells? Regain trust, because too many failures, too many people jump from you to you to you to you to you. Okay, so what do? $12 stuff. Join a community. Let me give you value and ascend you slowly. Does it suck for us? Yeah. But is it the only way? Most likely, right? But no one wanted to do that until it became like the big thing. Dude, I've wanted to, and this is just laziness because it's very difficult to really focus on it, and it's very expensive. And I had more of a media buying team before, but I've wanted to be like a focused YouTube guy for probably like 6-7 years. And I just never have, because we had media buying groups and all that. But like 5 years ago, I was like, man, like I need to focus on YouTube and LinkedIn. And now that we're doing a lot of that stuff, we were able to sell some companies. We built some big newsletters, and we understand the models. Like algorithms are mathematical like equations, and so are models. They're systematic like behaviors. And if you start looking at things like that, instead of like you being so smart or you being so talented, you can kind of break things down into like, every data piece makes decisions, and every time your ego gets involved in it, you make an error.
As many of you know, I'm constantly on the move, juggling multiple businesses, traveling, and ensuring I get my morning workouts in. Staying fresh isn't just a preference, it's a necessity. But let's face it, after back-to-back meetings, juggling 2 kids at home, and the hustle and bustle of everyday life, body odor can become an issue. But here's the deal. Mando has revolutionized how I stay fresh. This isn't just another deodorant, it's clinically proven to control odor better than a shower alone with soap. My favorite scent, bourbon leather, it's fresh, is subtle, and doesn't clash with my cologne. And I was surprised by how well the solid stick works, even after an intense morning workout. Mando's starter pack is perfect for the new customer. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like a mini body wash or a deodorant wipe, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners and new customers, you get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% of your starter pack. Use code Colby at shopmando.com. That is shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from the head to the toe with Mando. There's so much to unpack there, so I'm going to stick to the ego.
Jumped bars, really, like on some real shit.
That was some fire, bro. So I want to stick to the ego. I have realized, and you and I talk about this a lot, I have realized most of my mistakes tend to lean into just me making ego-driven decisions. And my wife recently, and yes, I do talk to her, she said, Justin, if you were just more patient, you actually wouldn't be making these decisions, because you would have walked through the entire scenario at a patient pace versus, oh, I know how to, so I'm going to. Ready, fire, aim.
If you were patient about your goals, but the problem is most people are not patient about their goals. They're impatient about showing someone else a result that reflects back into being accepted into a group.
Ego.
And that's ego.
That's it.
Right. And that is the truth, right? Like, I stopped going to events, and I've done it twice. Both times I made less friends, but more money. Right.
So, but when you say you went to an event, but you didn't go, like, what do you mean? You stopped going?
I mean, I physically stopped attending and speaking at events.
Okay.
Like, the first time I stopped going to events because I wasn't speaking. Right.
Right.
And I made less friends because they're fickle, guys, just so you know. And I made more money. And then when I started getting recognized again, then I started speaking. Then I started going to a lot of events. And that was good for a while. And then I started making good money, but then less money. But I started getting more recognition.
Yeah.
And so, dude, I've coached over 250 people with all the event masterminds and all that kind of stuff that we've had. And I remember multiple times I've talked to people that have lost a $10 million business that they were making $350,000 a year from. And it was a drop ship, or it was this. It wasn't a real company. And I'm like, hey, you've got a great name. What if you charge this much? You can be doing 400,000, 450, working 3 days a week doing consulting. And they're like, no, I got to do 10 million. Why? Oh, so what I've done. You haven't done anything.
Yeah.
You made 10 million for other people.
Yeah.
They don't remember you even made 10 million. They probably questioned it. You made 350 or 300. Why don't you, do something else? Because the attachment of being important in this industry is a cancer, a dopamine addiction. It's a drug, it's cancer, all at the same time. It kills your serotonin. So you have no longevity.
Well, it goes back, and not to get too deep in woo-woo, but it goes back to being worthy, right? And I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Like, I feel like that's the biggest downfall of human nature, is wanting to feel worthy.
Because
right?
we all come from, I barely know maybe one person that's like, yeah, dude, life's worked out for me. Like,
it's been easy. It's always works.
This is my girlfriend, like, and she's a model, and like, besides like the guy from Snapchat that, like, it's all been well for that guy. Everyone else is like, hey, I was poor.
Yeah.
Then I like got married or did something else. I was poor still. And then I made 10 grand, and then I'm skipping to 100, but like I made 13, 20, whatever. And then you get to the 100, and then you're like $1 million, because you go to these groups and it changes you had an idea. You wanted freedom, right? You wanted to be free. You wanted, like, man, if I could just, remember the days when you're like, if I could just make 15, if I could just make 20, but then you make 50. And you're like, oh shit, I didn't know 50 wasn't mine. 50's 15, right? 100's 26. Like, now you're like, oh, and I got to, because you're chasing.
Yeah.
But you're making what you wanted, and you have that time and autonomy and things, and your wife or your girlfriend or yourself even, you didn't change your goals and your perception because someone else went to Barbados, or someone else did, and you're like, me too. Someone else got a yacht on a Thursday. Yeah. And you're like, now you're chasing a person. You're not chasing your dreams and your goals because you lost them. Most people lose their goals. They lose their vision. I've asked a lot of people, like, what do you want? They're like, well, just to crush it. That's so nothing. That's so generic. It's so ambiguous. What do you want to be? Like, no one says happy.
Yeah.
And they all say, like, I don't know, I just want to kill it. And you become a dope addict, but your dope is like money that goes like this,
right? To be able to walk around and say, I did.
It's not even ego, because ego is like a sign of like trying to be somewhere. It's insecurity because it's a sign of like not knowing where to go. Like, you just want to follow. Like, insecure people follow. Egotistical people are more alone. You know what I mean? Because they both come from like fear of, like fear of not being accepted or fear of like being neglected in different ways.
Yeah. It's an interesting journey that I think you're on, that I'm on. I think the people that have been around long enough know the economic cycles and the adaptations.
And they really start to understand the words like money is freedom.
It really is. I mean, and I think
It's
there's a
not
lot of
money.
people that want the flex still. I still think there's the people that the show me economy.
And listen, it's fun, man.
And I live in the show me economy. I live in Miami. I mean, this is the show me economy.
It is.
You know, but for some, they're really doing it, and they really have the time freedom, right? I was on the phone with Dr. D the other day. He has time freedom, right?
Dr. D?
Dr. D.
Right, yeah. And he doesn't play this game, though.
No.
You don't see him anywhere.
But he also
we know
who
who
this
he is.
podcast.
Exactly.
I'm like, bro, he's like,
he doesn't play this game. Nah.
Right.
But you see him on the yacht if you're a homie or whatever. If you follow him, you follow him. But like he has two accounts. If you have the homie account, it's a different account.
That's right.
Yeah, like it's he's not playing this game. He's playing his game.
That's where I think people need to get more into. It's not about the game of, I'm using the word ego, and it's not that, but it's not about your work. Like everyone's
it's the game of self-acknowledgement. Like
right.
the same reason that people are egotistical and insecure, that same person will look himself in the mirror and go, this is not taking me anywhere. This is going to go away. I don't know what I want. Like they won't address themselves. So it's easier to follow and hate on and say the industry's hard and this and that than say, I'm sucking. I don't even know if I like this. Like I had to do that. I had to say like, I had a lot of opportunities when I was like trying to end here. And I was like, man, like these are bags. And I was like, but I won't be this person.
Well, those are the same people that, and it takes you a while to get here. So I would tell you, if you're not where
for sure
I are, you know, we're in our
get
we're
in that
bag,
do whatever you need to do.
We're in our late 20s, so we've had
drop
to take
shift, do all the things, but don't think you're like him, like you're not.
Well, and so I think you need to, the thing that you just said that I think is brilliant that people need to rewind, watch again, is admittance of it's not that and what it's going to take to be that. They don't want to recognize it. They want the press easy button to go, let me get it right now. I mean, to the extent of just like saying, okay, I want muscles, I'm going to do steroids, I'm not going to work out. Okay, fine.
But then there's a guy that's like, I want to do peptides and eat clean and all that because I want longevity.
Right? So there's like, dude, you can't have them both, right? No, you can have fast and you have good and you can have cheap. Yeah. You can't have all three, right? So you got to choose.
Yeah.
You can't have fast, good, and cheap.
I really think that, and I don't want to go woo-woo, but I really think that a big part of being an entrepreneur in any sense of the way, because now I work with, you know, people that have software, people that have like home service businesses, totally different people that are like, just, they don't know this world exists. It's crazy. But they're going through the same thing. Being an entrepreneur is lonely, even if you got a girlfriend, even if you got a wife. Like you are alone in an island. Your employees don't care about you; they will leave you. And even if you're like, oh they're brothers, 90% of them will bounce on you if like you really have a situation, right? Like your friends won't support you, and you'll find like it's a blessing when you do eat crap, or you know, if I can say shit, you can
cuss it out,
because you'll find out who's who, and that also helps you find out who is you.
Yeah.
You know, but I had a video that got me like 300,000 something views. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people hated it. But I was like, listen, most people are bitches. They take like, if I insulted you and it hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
It's not because I insulted you. It's because you know that I can see that.
That's right.
And so I said, I don't get insulted. And it's not like conceited. I look in the mirror and I say everything that you're thinking to myself.
There's no doubt.
So when you say some stuff to me, I'm like, I get it. Yeah, I am working on that. Like, it can't hurt me. You don't want to see it. So when you see other people, like, know that secret, that's when your feelings get hurt.
Yeah, you don't want to recognize what's in the mirror. And that's where...
But that extended and compounded leaves you alone. It leaves you being someone else. And it leaves you not really dialing in what you want.
By the way, just to even take it to the next level, maybe even someone has the business they really want. Maybe they are making $2, $3, $4 million personally. Maybe they are actually, but then go look at the other sides of their life, right? Go look at what is their mindset? What does their body look like? And then how good are they to the people, right? Like how good of friends are they? How good are they to their wife or their husband? How good are they as a parent? That's how you want to audit somebody. And really what I'm trying to tell you, that's how you should audit yourself. You need to look at that mirror and say, am I performing at dad level, husband level, business owner and leader level, friend level, family member level? Like that's the thing, because we're talking about the people that want the financial stuff. Maybe there are people that are watching this and listening, they're there.
Yeah.
But are they really full circle the person that really can have it all?
Yeah, dude, I just got in an argument with my wife because I feel like I'm a piece of shit dad sometimes. And she's like, they know you're working. I'm like, yeah, but I'm working late. She's like, they're at cheer. They're home at 8 o'clock. And I'm like, doesn't fulfill the need that I think I need to fulfill, because I care a lot, right? In friendship, like I'm like a best friend to like 4 or 5 people. I'm a great friend to a lot of other people. And because like I look at my friends or my family, I had a horrible upbringing and stuff like that. And so like for me, my family is my friends. And so like spending time with friends, being an amazing dad, being a good husband is like, and it's not priority. I'm not going to lie to you. Priority is making money, because if I don't make money, I can't be those things.
That's it.
So like I can't stand when people are like, yeah, that's priority. Really, Steven? Why don't you do that and like fail at life and see if she wants to move to an apartment? If you can't get your kids into, baseball camp, if you can't like buy them that one thing for Christmas, like that's going to hurt your feelings and they're going to resent you. Everything is business. Your wife is listen, Michael, whatever you want. Listen, at the end of the day, your wife is the biggest business partner you have.
Yeah.
And it's the best employees that you're ever going to have too, because your wife can take your whole net worth, son. Right. And so, and people don't treat it like that. They're like, oh yeah, like we're good. What? Like, but your business partner, you want to get deals, like you work that way. Your kids are everything you really have, but you don't treat them like you treat your number one media buyer or something like that, right? And so that's my first business. Everything else is my second and third, but like it's still business, because you have to provide for all of this if you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I think there's the man side of it. And funny enough, I just watched, that new Mufasa movie?
The
one
live action one?
Yeah.
No, is it fire?
Fire.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazing. But I say all that just to bring into like the lion aspect, right? About you got to provide for your tribe. I mean, like you cannot feel good about yourself if you're forcing.
And if you do, you're a bitch. Like straight up.
If you have
you're finding
bedroom apartment with two kids and a wife, and you say you're happy and fulfilled, I just don't know if that planet exists.
I don't know if just 4 other people at your house are happy and fulfilled. And for me, I'm trying to fulfill everyone's cup.
That's our job.
I fulfill everyone's cup. My cup is full. I can't fill my cup until I fill other people's cups.
Give me a life hack real quick while we're talking. Like, what do you do to fill your cup, right? Like, I show a lot on Instagram about making sure I'm waking up in the early and I journal and I go to like, what do you do to fill your cup?
Muay Thai.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
But I also like just got in a car accident and stuff. And so like, and I have a slightly torn bicep. So besides that, I journal.
Yeah.
It doesn't fill my cup, but it fills my needs to decompress.
Sure.
And I call like 2 people. I will say it. It's Scott Olford and it's you. That is it. And it doesn't fill my cup, but it releases the tension in the body that I need. You don't need to fill your cup. You need to release things. You need to feel free and off.
Yeah.
I feel good, right? I go to the gym. I do the normal people things, right? Like I wake up early. I cold plunge. I sauna. That doesn't fill my cup.
Yeah.
Filling my cup is being heard and being seen. Sometimes I'm home and this is what I was talking to my wife about. And this is just real talk, right? Like this is how people feel. And I was like, I feel like I don't have a house sometimes because I'm stressed about work. I'm trying to do so much stuff because all these companies and stuff like I'm the guy. I send the checks. You know what I mean? It sucks, but it's part of life. I have that. That's my job, right? And then I get home and they're cheerleading and they go home at 8 o'clock or 8:30. They're brushing their teeth. They gotta go. And then my wife, she's exhausted and she should be. She works really hard. Like she's an amazing woman, but she's exhausted. And then the lights go off or like that routine. I haven't decompressed. I'm like
still going.
I'm like mentally shaking. I'm like, yo, I gotta like go. I gotta do something, right? But I already worked out. Like I don't work out at night, and I'm like, man, I just gotta like talk or like I gotta like let it go or keep the lights on and like watch something or whatever. And that's not fair. So like you shut the lights off. And I told her like, I feel like, and we can't go on dates like all the time because our kids try to go on a date, like go date night, like suck it, dude. Like 8 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock. When do you have time? You're not going on date night.
Yeah.
You can set them up. Like I just went with Shy and Alex and all these things, right? But every normal day, I haven't decompressed. and it hurts me and it stresses me and it makes it worse.
Yeah.
And so I need to call like my brothers and be like, bro, this is just what happened. Because also she doesn't get me like that. And that's okay. You know, I don't get her in certain aspects. You get me in certain ways more than my wife does.
Yeah.
And that's doesn't make it weird. It makes it normal.
But those are the connections I'm talking about, is people don't put
But that's my decompression. That's my, you know, what I do.
Filling your cup up. I mean, listen, there's no one size fits all, by the way.
Dude, right? you might be like, oh man, I make Legos.
Right.
And that's totally fine. I'll
do puzzles.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Yeah.
You know, right? I love puzzles.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not saying I'm good or fast at them. I just love them. It's fun.
You know what? I'll say it. I like writing poems.
There you go.
Yes.
But I want people to understand, like, in Los's world, and by the way, very similar to mine, I'm a people person. If I don't have a Los in my world, if I don't have the people I can call, the connections part is very big. And that's why I say, like, you might be crushing.
If you don't have it, you're
making
alone,
$2 or $3 million a year, and you're like,
matter.
I'm on top of the world. But you don't have that phone call that you can fucking cry to or just leave it all.
Just be you. Just be you for a minute.
That part. There is no way. Like the last episode I just did, we talked a lot about masterminding. That is a version of that, right?
It's a version. That's I will say that's in my opinion, and everyone has their own opinion. That's the top of funnel version of that.
Yeah, because you have to develop. You have to be intentional.
Right.
That
is how we're best friends. You know.
So you have to be intentional with that friendship.
Yeah.
And if you let loose of that intention, then it becomes just I
will also say friendships are work.
100%.
It's all work. You gotta care.
Bro, it's all hard. I mean, I literally just talked about it's all fucking hard. Being Los's friend is hard, not because you're a bad person. Like, I have to be intentional at the time and effort and energy I give Los.
Yeah.
It's all hard, but you get to pick and choose.
It's all effort. It's all effort. Without effort, you have nothing of substance.
Agreed. But we all want it. Not we all. You and I don't.
I used to want it like that.
Right. But you want it overnight.
Yeah.
I don't want to do the effort, but I want the result. Like, what the fuck are we talking about here?
Yeah. I want to get better at creating more impact and less effort. I want to create things that have leverage and that have like logical sequencing, that like if I do this and I can do this here and there, that creates a lot less effort, but makes a lot of impact. And I've been working on that. And to be transparent, that takes a lot of time, 3 or 4 times more time than you think. Then it becomes more of an autonomous system. But that like lack of in the interim investing and not making as much for focus purposes and such is very challenging to your mind and to your physical, spiritual, mental life, right? And thought process.
Yeah.
And so you have to, and that kind of goes back to like, you got to know what you want.
Bro, it is the first pillar of success, in my opinion. I think, it's funny is I have these 5 pillars of success, laws of success. The first one I've always said, know what you want, who you need to be to get the thing you want. That's all number 1. There's actually a 0. There's 0 through 5. First, you have to be able to dream it. Dream of the thing you want. Dream it, right? Because it's all possible. Now, barring, like, literally, think about what AI is doing and Elon putting, like, all of it's possible, right? So dream of the thing you want. Then come back to earth and say, okay, out of that dream, what do I really genuinely want in lifetime? Because if you don't have that, you're not connected to anything. You will walk around. You might make a lot of money. That could still be true, but you're going to walk around aimless. It's not going to be fun.
I agree with you. And to circle back, I just realized that as we were talking on this, like what fills my cup, it's studying.
I've noticed it in the last 12 months with you, bro. You have become smarter.
For fucking sure.
I'm not even joking with you as a friend. Like, literally, I get on the phone with you sometimes and go, did you just get out of a fucking PhD class?
It makes me so happy to just like learn. But like not like how to make money online, like deep thought, like psychological stuff, like private equity, like things that you think. I have like this weird thing about me, which is a blessing that, so like one of the guys at the office, made fun of me a year and a half ago. He's like, oh, Los isn't going to learn AI and blah, blah, blah. Like, cause,
he is or
kind of face. He's not, like that's something he's just going to let us do. I'm the best person at the office because of it. Right. Like you say something like you shitting on me is my love language. It is a blessing. Like I'm going to go. And so I've just like found this like passion for like, especially because like you kind of lose learning when you kind of get into a top level of internet marketing or such. And now I I'm nobody in these other circles, right? To a degree. And that bothers me. And so like, I want to be something good and fast, but this isn't good and fast. You have to be meticulous. And so learning has become like, dude, I love it. So that definitely, that fills my cup more than even Muay Thai.
I've recognized it in a big way in the last 12 months, talking to you and watching this. Like, I've genuinely recognized.
Thank you.
Like, what do we even talk?
That's a really nice compliment.
Yeah, I got you, dog. I hate to say it, but it goes back to the first principle, like your mind. Like, what are you doing with your mind? What are you doing as an entrepreneur watching this or listening? What are you genuinely doing with your mind? Because if you're not like Los, like, I don't know if I love learning in the same way you
also a seasonal thing, you know, maybe at one point.
But I love learning in a different sense.
Yeah,
because
totally.
now you're in merger and acquisitions and you're buying company and you're going into private equity. Like, it's a vastly different space than I'm in, right? So I don't need to know.
But I'm also learning like a frequency and like dorky like things that I like on spirituality.
Yeah.
And I'm finding time to like feel what I enjoy that people would normally make fun of me for, right? Like, and now I don't care. Like, I just learn different things, right? Like, I'm into all of these things. Like, I'm also learning like how to work out like twice a week and have like the same results as like 6 times a week.
Yeah.
And like all these just
it's all out there.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's whatever you want.
But what do you like, dude? Look at what you're paying attention to. That's what people need to understand. What you like. This
Knowledge.
isn't about what Los is learning. It's knowledge. Your time is spent growing, adapting,
building leverage,
right? Like,
yeah,
most people out there listening and watching this aren't happy. They're not where they want to be. They don't have the money they want. They don't have the wife and husband they want. They don't have the body they want. But they're not spending their time learning how to get the body they want. They're not learning how to develop more connections. They're just like saying, oh, that's just my life.
So I've recognized 2 patterns through like orders of consequence, through like the Ray Dalio book, right, of principles that like are patterns with me that create a bad time in a new version, right? And so for people here listening, maybe this can help you. But the first time ever was when I lost my first business. I had a home automation business, and I had just got married. 2008 hit. Long story short, all the builders that I was working with went bankrupt. I didn't even know how that worked. And I lost over $1 million, and I didn't have anything. It's the only time I asked my mother-in-law for a loan, and I was like, I'll never ever ask that again. Yeah, and I had never have, respectfully. And it was back to the wall. Like, I'm not this person, and the journey hurt. I didn't win. My wife's like, you know, spent like $50,000, $75,000 on us, like living. I brought nothing to the table. I actually asked her to divorce me because I was like, you can have a life. I can sleep in couches. She's like, you're an idiot, dude. Like, I got her. So she's a savage. Shout out to Laura.
Come on, Laura.
But the second time is when I lost more stuff because I just had a business relationship that I couldn't get out of, and I lost a lot more. And I had a lot more teams, children and such. And so that second time, it was like misery. Both times were misery, not thinking I could do it, thinking I didn't even belong here, but deep down being like, yeah, but you're him though, right? Like let's also like go over here. But this pulled me heavy. And so those times when you're when you're like, man, you don't get it. Cause dude, at some point I church Chipotle with some of the team members in like the office. Like, we were eating legit, well, shit, Chipotle, but like kind of shit, like, you know, and I'm just being really and my parents killed themselves in the same couple of years. So like, listen, I like really ran through some stuff. And so I was more down than I could pull myself up. My positivity was like, you're him, you got it. And then the reality of like Tuesdays or Wednesdays was like, no, you're not. Like go get you are a loser, lose your friends. They already like, they don't have your back. Figure something else out that's pathetic, and like go get a $40,000 a year job, and like move into an apartment. Your wife will leave you. Like, I've had all these thoughts, right? Every day. I was like fighting those things. So I understand people fight demons, but like, you have to be the fucking dragon slayer, you know? And if you're thinking like, man, you don't get it, everyone gets it, man. What you don't get is like, you're doing nothing about it.
That is a tone that we should leave it on, because that is what people need to hear. You, not Los, you are doing nothing about it. That's our reality.
And it won't be easy, but it'll be worth it. And that was a movie.
If this helped one or two of you, share it with 2 more people. If Los is awesome, make sure you're following Los. But share this episode with 2 more people, bro. I appreciate you.
Yeah, if I can help anybody, I will charge you nothing. Just DM me at Los Hustle.
At
just
Los
try to
Hustle.
help.
At
On
Los
Insta.
Hustle.
Yeah. Love you, bro.
Love you too, bro.
Love that hat.
It's a great hat. Thanks for the gift.
Love you. See you guys.